Hey everyone, so today on Meal Prep Live I'm going to do beef and broccoli on jasmine rice. So what I already did to save time is I cut up a flank steak. So the steak is about, when it's not cut, it's about like this, and you're going to cut it down 4 length, and then I just kind of chopped it, just bite-sized pieces, and then I marinated it in soy sauce, sesame oil that's toasted, the toasted sesame oil, garlic or minced garlic, what else? Honey and ginger. So I let that marinate for about 20-ish minutes. You can do 20 minutes to 8 hours depending on how much time you have. So that is this. So I'm going to heat up a skillet. So I'm just spraying it with some olive oil, just of course so it doesn't stick. What are you doing? What are you doing? And also for those of you who do not know, each Monday we send out the recipe that we meal prep the following Sunday. So we sent this out on Monday and we're prepping it today. So if you guys want to sign up, there's a link in my bio too, or Dan, where's the best place for the YouTube, or people watching on YouTube?
To check the website?
Yeah.
Where is the best place? That's a good question.
Yeah.
We've got little inklings kind of all
everywhere.
over the web, but
exactly.
I don't know if we've really consolidated anything. I'd say the quickest way to it is probably through our Facebook group.
Okay.
But unfortunately, that Facebook group is a private group that you have to ask for permission to join.
Yeah.
It's free to join, but you do have to ask for permission. It's kind of a way where we make sure that the people who are involved with it and want to be a part of it are positive community members and contribute.
All right. So the skillet is heated up, so I'm going to put the steak on.
That's a good question, though.
Yeah.
I think after today, I'm going to make sure we get like a really solid, specific, easy place to send everybody to.
Perfect. All right, so we got the marinated steak in the skillet. I already did the jasmine rice because that's foolproof.
The dogs.
And we got the dogs.
The beggars.
You guys smell it? Does it smell good? Yeah. All right. Let's see. So this you're gonna just cook for about like 5 to 6 minutes, and then you're going to take it off, and we're going to do the broccoli alone, and then we're gonna combine it all back together, and then that will be it. So I only put half of the sauce in with the marinade for the steak, and then I put some cornstarch in the remaining of the mixture that we'll add in with the broccoli and the rest of it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Should help give it a nice thicker consistency.
Thicker, yes, hopefully.
Yeah. So for anybody who is not familiar working with cornstarch, it is a great thickening agent for pretty much anything. You're making gravy, it's too soupy, add some cornstarch. Anything that's too soupy, just add a little bit of cornstarch and watch the magic happen.
Yeah.
I wish that food manufacturers had the same view.
Yeah.
Always use wheat. Always use flour.
Really?
Yeah, I always, I don't know if anyone knows, but I eat gluten-free. And just even soups, something that you wouldn't even think.
Yeah.
Wheat flour's added in there for a thickener.
So that's another reason why eating gluten-free isn't healthy.
Yeah, it's not.
Or gluten-free options.
It's healthy if you're gluten intolerant,
Yes.
and gluten does bad things to
Yeah.
you.
It's healthier.
Yeah. Oh, go down.
But you know, that's what we're here to do, though. We're gonna bust up nutrition myths, teach you guys some fun stuff, and cook some delicious food.
Exactly. And answer any questions.
Yes, absolutely. Victoria and I were sitting on the sidelines.
Yep.
We're both monitoring, watching any questions on the Twitch channel, on Instagram, on our YouTube channel. You know, feel free to ask. We're more than happy to answer those.
Absolutely. I know I posted a story about an hour ago saying if they had any questions, but I think it was a little too late. Like, you know, like when you ask, say like just ask questions if you want to answer any.
Well, I'm still trying to figure all that stuff out. I'm an idiot when it comes to social media. I don't know how I've gotten as far as I have. Just call me Old Man Dan.
Dad.
Old Man Dan.
If there was a cloud right now, I'd yell at it. And for anyone who is unaware, if you Google Old Man Yells at Cloud, you won't be disappointed.
Oh, really? No, I want to do it.
I'm curious now. Alright, almost cooked up. So you don't have to cook it through fully because you're going to add it back in with the broccoli and just cook it all together again, so get a decent amount of the pink gone. Who has house phones anymore?
Of course it's a telemarketer, come on now.
Seriously.
Nobody calls the people's house anymore.
That's funny. Okay. Alright, couple more minutes.
Riley never gives up.
Riley, nope. Old man
Maybe
Riley.
if I sit here long enough and beg, I will eventually get a piece of beef.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Did you get that bad? Also, frozen veggies. I'm going to try frozen broccoli this time instead of fresh because at Wegmans they had the stalk, or is that what it's called, the stalk or the stem of the broccoli?
Yeah.
It
Stock
was
stem, those are
so
both
massive. I was like, I'm not paying for this.
Right.
It was
If
seriously
I'm paying
bigger.
by weight, why?
Yeah, exactly. It was bigger than the crown, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try something different. So I got some frozen.
No, the good news is, flash frozen vegetables, no preservatives added, it's pretty much the same. The only thing that you will possibly encounter is the texture after being cooked will be a little bit different because once you flash freeze something, it absolutely alters the cellular structure.
Yes,
so,
it does.
you know,
But
there's
otherwise,
nothing you can do about that. But health-wise, yeah,
convenient,
it's the same
cheaper.
And this isn't too significant, but it actually flash freezes all the nutrients in there too, so they don't degrade like a fresh vegetable would. But that's not very, it's not that significant, but.
But that's still a little cool fun
It
fact.
is cool.
I didn't know that.
So they really are just as healthy, like you said, but the structures change just a little. That's it.
So if you're on a budget, get frozen fruit and veggies.
Yeah.
You heard it here. All right. So I'm just transferring, move my coffee. Transferring the meat to a clean plate. Coda, does it smell good? Do you like the smell? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Or not, okay.
And it's actually good that it's sitting in the juices so it doesn't dry out. So just put everything on that plate. All right, next we're going to do the broccoli. And I said about 2 cups in the recipe, but you can do a little more if you want. So maybe I'll do about like 2.5 cups. What did I do with the, oh, here it is. Got ahead of myself, already cleaned it. Okay. All right, so maybe we will do 3 cups.
Alright, nothing wrong with more broccoli.
Yeah, add more veggies. Okay, so we're heating up the skillet again. Gonna add some oil on it. With the broccoli. Yeah, that's definitely not enough. We'll double that.
So yeah, 1 serving of cooked vegetables is gonna be a 1/2 cup, but it'll shrink.
Yeah.
Now, another good little trick, especially if you don't have your measuring cups on hand or you're just not used to using them. Looking at your hand, fist, palm, all that fun stuff, you can use this handy dandy thing right here to measure out serving sizes. So for example, most of your proteins, you're going to want this surface area of your fist. For most of your vegetables, you're going to want the surface area of your palm. For your fats, surface area of your thumb. So there you go. It's a little measuring hack for you.
I didn't even think about like the thumb. That's a good one.
Alright, so we're just letting the broccoli cook up a bit. Oops.
And since it is frozen, it probably will take a little bit longer to cook than fresh.
Yep. So like I said, half of the mixture is in this bowl, and I put cornstarch in it. So then, when we add everything back together, we'll thicken up.
Ooh. Looking at our top-down cam, that broccoli looks real nice cooking. It's getting very green.
I know, it's nice. I always forget about frozen vegetables. I really do.
And on the Instagram,
I just go straight to fresh. Yeah.
I'm gonna post the link
Okay.
to the top-down view.
Yeah,
we're
so
talking
again,
about.
my Instagram people, you can look on our YouTube and you can see the view of my cooking station as well. And is your face up in the corner?
And my
and
face
Dan's
is up
little
in the
face
corner.
in the corner.
So I'm actually gonna post the Twitch one.
Okay.
Because of our YouTube is a different type of link.
Ridiculously long series of numbers and letters. You know, it wasn't always like that. You could just, set the name of your channel indefinitely, but
Yeah.
you know, as time has gone on, things have changed. Marketing has
Of course.
become a lot more mainstream with the big producers.
Yep.
You know, they've had to take steps to make sure people aren't just creating things, taking up space in their servers, and then just abandoning them.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Good work.
Alright. Okay, so just another minute with this, just because it's coming from frozen, so it needs a little bit more time.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to undercook frozen vegetables.
Yes.
Well, maybe you do, but I personally don't.
Yeah.
As far as texture is concerned, I like my vegetables to be a little chewy, but mostly cooked to the point where I can just let them melt in my mouth. My fiance, on the other hand, she likes her vegetables to have a nice crisp crunch to them. So,
Really interesting.
we try to make that
Compromise,
somewhere in the middle.
Alright. So, those are pretty good. So I'm going to add the beef back in the pan. I'm going to try not to get the liquid that is in it, because I'm just going to add back the thickened liquid.
So for the people at home, if you were to add that extra juice in it, what do you think that would do to the dish?
Probably just make it more soupy than you would like, or if you wanted soupy, go for it.
One fun thing I like to do when I'm doing dishes like this is I'll save that excess and I'll actually add it to the rice when it's done cooking.
I was about to say, if we're making rice.
See, I'm plain Jane.
Yeah, she is.
So for me, I'm going to dump that liquid.
Hey, to each their own, right?
Exactly. But no, that's good to know. Alright, so we're putting that thickened liquid back in, or not back in. So we're just going to mix it all together. Smells good. So Dan, you want to tell them about that, the marinade process? Because I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm a guy that loves to grill. I love experimenting with different marinades. And one interesting thing, a lot of times when you pick up a marinade or if you make your own, it'll say, yeah, marinade 20 minutes to 8 hours. That's like a huge discrepancy. So it's like, wait. Well, what's the advantage of marinating meat longer? So there typically tends to be vinegars or other acidic type agents inside of your marinade that's going to break the tissues down of the meat and actually make it more tender, softer, allow it to absorb the juices and the flavor a little bit more readily. So the longer you marinate a meat, the more tender it's going to be after you cook it. So if you've got 8 hours, absolutely recommend marinate the meat as long as you can. You won't be upset or disappointed by the results. Especially if it's like chuck steak or stewing steak. Those tend to be a little bit tougher. But if you marinate them well before you add them into whatever you're cooking, it definitely will make it more of a melt in your mouth consistency.
Yeah. I didn't know that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. A lot of things like that happen, food science stuff. Especially with acids and bases, they do a lot of stuff, even to vegetables too. It can change the color of them and the taste.
Well, there's also like meat tenderizers, like literally beating your steak with a mallet. That does essentially the same thing. It breaks down the bonds of the protein cells to make it softer.
Trying to find ours. I know we have it somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be down there.
It's like a mallet. I think it's down here.
Does it have
here it is.
Is one of the ends beveled? Yep, look at that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Big and small.
So it's got the big and small sides. Alright. So believe it or not, that is it.
Hooray! Look at
15 minutes. So of course I honestly spent about, I would say 10-15 minutes preparing the meat before. Probably 10 minutes. But very simple. No excuses. And you have the recipe too.
And that's multiple meals too. That's not just one meal for you. That's going to feed you for the whole week for your lunch.
Exactly. Yep.
So
Fabulous.
it is very true. There are absolutely meals that you can prep that do take a lot of time commitment.
Yep, sure.
But there's also a lot of meals you can prep that it's not going to consume a lot of your time. And then look at that.
Bada
It's
bing,
all
bada
done.
boom.
So we're gonna. I mean, do you want to set all that up into your containers now, or do you want to start getting situated so we can kind of sit? We're gonna change our camera angles today for the wrap session, just so that way, you know, you guys don't have all these disembodied voices on screen for you.
Okay, so we're just gonna reset the camera. Okay, and then you wanna pop in too? Yeah. I wish I could turn it like sideways. You know?
You can't. Or will the camera go?
I don't
with
think it will. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Alright. Just resetting.
Can we all fit in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can absolutely.
You can sit on my lap.
Here.
Okay. Alright, how's that?
See, look, there we go. That's not too bad, right?
There. Let me bring it down a little bit more.
nice?
Whee! Don't get motion sick now.
Whee! Going down. Hi, baby. Okay, that's perfect.
I can see us just fine.
Alright.
Let's move this though, so you don't have to sit on a cord. I'll just hang
Cool.
out between us, that's fine.
Alright, so we got two cameras going if you guys are confused while we're looking over here.
There we go, look at that. Alright. Everybody can see us alright, we're good? Wave to Instagram, wave to YouTube. Hey, what's up everybody? So, we're still playing around with the format a little bit, but we think when we do our chat sessions, we want to do something a little bit more like this, where you guys can watch all of us talk rather than, again, like last week, for those of you who caught the show, the camera was just pointed to dead space for the entirety of the conversation. So we're trying to get better about stuff like that, but you know, it's a learning process, just like everything else in life.
Yep.
Oh, so fats.
Fats.
We are on to fats today. We talked about carbohydrates, we talked about proteins, and now we're going to get onto the fats.
Yes.
So one thing that's always amazed me, and I mean this is something that we've encountered through nutrition throughout the decades. As everything changes, our opinions shift, our mind changes on how everything's supposed to be. Fats, for a hot minute, were demonized, just completely. It was like, oh my gosh, stay away from fat, don't have any fats in your diet, oh my gosh, butter, good God, get that out of here, we can't do that.
And like the margarine thing, all of that, and low fat and fat free.
When I was told butter was not good for me, I got so upset.
Because you're mac and cheese?
Oh. But I will say that now we've got more information, we've got more science to back everything up, and it turns out fat's not bad for you. Hold that thought. There's a little asterisk there. So before we get into that, I want to first say that there are two distinct types of fats. You have essentially what's known as your solid fats. So those are going to be fats that are room temperature, are solids at room temperature. Your saturated fats, your trans fats. A diet high in saturated fats will absolutely elevate blood pressure. It can affect your dietary cholesterol. However, it can affect your dietary cholesterol both good and bad. For those of you who aren't aware, we have two types of cholesterol. We have HDL and we have LDL, high density lipoproteins and low density lipoproteins. Your HDL is cholesterol that you actually want to be a little bit higher. Like that's good for you, that's good cholesterol. LDL on the other hand, that's the kind of cholesterol we want to avoid. We don't want to have spiked numbers of that because that can just lead to a whole list of cardiac issues that you just don't want to deal with. The other fats, on the other hand, we have our unsaturated fats, or monounsaturated fats. So you've got monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, your omega-3 fatty acids are also going to fall into this category. And these are the fats that we've found over time have very good health benefits. So to bluntly say, fats are bad, fats are evil, stay away from them, that's just such a misnomer. But what we've discovered is, it's trans fats that are the fats that are bad for us, that are causing terrible things to happen to us. And actually, Victoria and I were talking a little bit earlier this morning, and she made me aware of something about trans fats that I didn't even know. So actually, if you want to, bust into that for a minute.
Sure. So, as of June 18th, 2018, trans fats are not allowed to be man-made and put into products. But they did extend that date for compliance until January 1st, 2020. So trans fats are so bad for you that we literally have started to make it, the FDA has made it a rule to take them out of the food supply.
So do we know why the FDA gives them so much time for compliance?
Well, because people would lose money.
Exactly.
I mean...
But how does that benefit them?
Who?
The FDA.
Well, see, the FDA is a government organization, so they get their paychecks no matter what.
Yeah.
They're put together to protect the consumer, but at the same time, we live in a capitalistic society. Money does drive everything that moves forward. So when you change regulations, when you kind of move things or shift the thinking from one area to another, we as Americans, we want everything to be instant. Like we have been raised on instant satisfaction and guarantees and all that fun stuff, but when you try to move a large entity, like the entire manufactured food industry, from one line of thinking to another, you do have to give them time because they're going to have to change their manufacturing techniques. They're going to have to re-educate workers, their supply, everything. There's so much that goes into it. So
typically they try to give, if anything similar to this happens, they try to give I think they did 3 years for this time. They started this in 2015. But it ends up always extending out to 5-ish years. Yeah. 5 years ends up being kind of what,
And when it comes down to the wire, they'll probably extend it again.
Right,
but,
exactly.
I mean, the idea is to get closer to it each time. I mean, are we ever going to completely eliminate them? Well, as a healthcare professional, I really hope so.
Yeah.
But, trans fats also do occur naturally in very small percentages in foods that we eat already. So, I mean, it's not like we can escape trans fats, but it's the manufactured ones, the ones that are created from the oils by man, that go through all the processing. That's where we get into the whole, hey, these are really bad for us, these are causing, high cholesterol levels, people are getting cardiac disease, plaque inside your arteries, all that fun stuff.
I was going to say, that's
I think talking a little bit more about the fatty acids probably would be a good thing to discuss.
Yeah.
So there have been a lot of great studies that have come out on the fatty acids and what they exactly do. There's a lot of brain health and brain function that the fatty acids are absolutely a part of. On top of that, believe it or not, your body requires fat for a lot of the cellular development things that it does, hormones especially. This is, I don't know if you can call this a fun fact, but it is a fact. women in particular, if they have way too low of a fat content, both in their diet and on their body, it will affect their hormones in such a way that they actually can stop the whole reproductive cycle. The period just goes away. This is actually a very common problem with young athletes, especially at the Olympic level.
Yes.
The rigorous training, the high amounts of body muscle to fat ratio that they put on their bodies, it just ends up wreaking havoc on their hormones and all the other chemicals that are going on inside.
Even the like bikini competitors and the ones that have to go down to such a low body fat percentage, regardless of their age. I mean, of course.
And you can imagine that that's pretty unhealthy.
Oh, very unhealthy. Just for that reason, it's just,
Well,
I don't know why you would want to put your body through that.
That actually gives me a really good idea for the next jumping off point. You know, talking about competition, bikini competitors, figure competitors, things like that. If you ever talk to somebody who's like really good at it, really competes well, they'll never tell you it's a healthy sport.
No,
it is a tough sport. I have nothing but respect for people that have that kind of like mental iron will, because it is tough. It is absolutely tough. I've had the pleasure of working with a couple different trainers over the years who have also done figure competitions and whatnot. But you know, they're not stupid about it. They really do their homework. They make sure that they're doing this unhealthy practice as safely as they possibly can. And I mean, it's kind of an oxymoron when you throw it up like this. It's like, oh, it's actually really unhealthy to do that to your body, but here's a safe way to do this unhealthy thing. But, you know, you also have to be happy with what you do. And if you really enjoy that type of stuff, then you should pursue it. You should go for it, because you only get one go around. Obviously, here at Better You, we'll never encourage people to go into that just because of how unhealthy it is for the human body. But we would support anybody who is looking for assistance with trying to be healthy while doing things like that. Balance, moderation, that is the key to a long, healthy life. The key to a short, unhealthy life is pretty much everything outside of that, though.
Intense.
Which we love.
The way I used to live.
Hey, you know, you're not alone, though.
No, I know.
A lot of people have lived like that.
Definitely, and still do.
Do we have anything else that we want to talk about fats about?
I kind of wanted, so I did a whole research project on omega-3s. Yeah, so I might as well talk about that. It actually, so I don't know if anybody has heard, but depression, I did it on depression and like brain health, and I guess, so there's two different types of, I don't even know what it would be, parts of omega-3s, DHA and EPA. So I guess it's DHA that can stop depression. And EPA is actually more directly related to.
So chocolate does cure depression.
So we were.
Wait, it's the EPA.
EPA is better.
Yes.
So interesting you say that, because we were at Wegmans yesterday, and there is like a DHA fortified milk.
Right.
So, but is it EPA better? So why are they DHA?
So DHA is actually, so I'm gonna take everything I said back because I just switched them up. So DHA is more directly correlated with brain function, but the EPA is the one that actually is better for depression. And
so they're both good.
So maybe it's more like one's better for function, one's better for health.
Yes, actually, that might be it. So yeah.
Cool. That's
Nice. That's a really cool, fun tidbit.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And then we also have omega-6s, which are good, but we get a lot of those in our food supply as Americans, so we try to focus more on getting the omega-3s.
Okay. So what are some good sources of the omega-3s?
Fatty fish is your best source, like flax seeds, other nuts, walnuts. I'm trying to think of anything else you guys can think of.
What about eggs?
Eggs, yeah.
Eggs.
Yeah, the yolks specifically.
Yes.
Not the whites.
Fish oil pills.
Yep, so, and if you decide to
Krill.
supplement with fish oil pills, I did not know this until I read the bottle. It's probably like 2 of them you have to take twice a day. People are like, oh, I just take
Just one a day.
one in the morning. Well, you really gotta read.
Yeah. But
What
people,
it
I
is.
feel like always assume it's just one a day.
I did.
Of whatever.
Yeah.
Well, no, I know.
Until I read it,
So you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm probably getting other stuff too, but
Yeah.
you know, supplements are to supplement the diet,
Yeah,
and if
sure.
you're not, you know, getting a certain amount, well, you should probably take the recommended supplementing dosage.
Yep.
Here's a little fun fact about most fish oil pills, though. check the sell-by date when you get these, because fish oil is one of those oils that tends to break down a lot quicker than a lot of other things. So, depending on how old that bottle is by the time you get it, that 2,000 milligrams you're supposed to be getting might actually be closer only to 1,000 milligrams per pill, just because a lot of the nutrients have started to degrade a little bit over time. I believe krill oil, though, doesn't degrade as fast as fish oils do, though.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere once. I'm not going to quote this one as like, hey, this is authority science right here. But if anybody wants to do a little bit of research on that, I believe one of the reasons people tend to recommend krill oil over fish oil, at least why it's so prevalent in the fitness supplement industry, is because it does have that lower degrade factor.
Interesting.
But I mean, side by side, as far as what they do for you, it is the same.
Sure. Yep. Great.
So do you guys out there, do you have any questions on fats?
Fat questions.
¿Dónde estás? How are we? I think my Spanish is a little bit rusty. But
Actually, I'm learning Spanish right now.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm doing it on the computer. I mean, I know a lot more than I thought.
Wait, what is it?
Duolingo. It's a app.
Cool.
all right,
That's really
well,
interesting.
if I got that right, if ¿Dónde estás is in fact, how are you or how are we? We're doing pretty well.
Good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Muy bien.
Y
tú?
Muy
I
bien,
think
y
it's
tú.
where
There we
are
go.
you?
What's that?
Donde? Where are you?
Where? Oh,
Isn't
where
it?
are we?
Oh wait, what is it again?
Not como
¿Dónde estás?
Oh.
Como estás?
Where are you?
How are you?
God, look at me showing
Where
my
are you?
ignorance.
Donde?
Good
I
God.
think so.
Donde
Donde
está? Where are we? I think that's.
We are in the kitchen.
Let's see if I can say that. Oh my god, I'm gonna make a fool out of myself.
Come on, show us that
Wait, what
beginning
is it?
Spanish. We are in an integrated society right now.
Oh,
We-
jeez, I forget we.
Shoot. Yeah. I don't know.
S and la. I think it's cocina.
Cocina?
Do we have
I don't know
anybody watching who can correct us or help us out with
Donde
this?
es en la cocina?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, I think that does kind of wrap us up on fats a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry to go off topic there a little bit, but
Spanish.
we had somebody speak Spanish to us, and I would always like to try to respond.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But, unfortunately, I'm not the smartest person in the world, and I am limited in a lot of things just because I have not taken the time to learn them.
Yep.
Now, that being said, I want to wrap the show up with something a little bit different today. This is something that I've kind of been wrestling with all day today. Struggling is a very real part of life. Hard times, difficult times, just trying to wrap yourself around very complicated emotions, challenges that you have to face. This morning, it took everything that I had to roll out of bed and come here and do this show today. But I remembered that it wasn't myself, for me, that we do this show for. It's for you guys. It's to educate, it's to connect and help people help themselves. Without going into a long drawn-out story, the place where I've done business for the last 6 years got pulled out from underneath me, and my entire business practice, as of Friday, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing with that. So my life has been affected. All of the clients that I work with, their lives are going to be deeply affected by this as well. And it's been really tough to not just feel so beaten down and depressed by something that was completely outside of my control. But just like you guys, just like anybody else, you get up and you face it one day at a time. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel low. But you can't let it control you. You can't let it dictate what you do and how you respond to those things as they happen. So for anybody out there today, and in the future and in the past, if you're struggling, know that we struggle too, everybody, your neighbor, your sister, your brother, that random person on the subway, we all struggle. We have our own fights and our own battles. And just try to be good to everyone in your life who's good to you, and try to be good to the people who you don't know either.
And
Because
even the
you
people
don't-
who aren't good to you.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
too.
I think so.
Kill them with kindness. That's
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
how that saying goes.
It works.
As difficult
I
as
swear.
it is sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
So really, deeply, truly, thank you guys for being such an awesome part of this team. And thank you guys, everybody who's watching and supporting this show and giving me a reason to get out of bed on Sunday morning to set up all this equipment so that way we can put on a show for you guys. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
I like that. That was cool.
We'll leave the floor open for about another 60 seconds in case any last minute questions come through. But other than that, that's our show.
I guess going off of that too, I recently just went through something really difficult as well, and before I wouldn't really allow myself to feel those emotions, and my sister taught me this, that you have to feel and endure the emotion. What?
So, we've got a couple new viewers on Twitch today, and you know what? We haven't done an introduction in quite a while, like who we are, what's going on.
Okay.
So, hey, why don't we take just a minute to kind of introduce all of ourselves? Thank you, Discount Therapy. Really appreciate that question. I hadn't even thought.
I know.
Hey, we haven't introduced ourselves in a while to everybody who's watching.
Yeah.
So why don't we start down here at the end? Victoria, tell us a little bit about you and what you're bringing to our team.
All right, so my name is Victoria, obviously, and I am a dietitian as of July this year. So I just finished up school and I'm trying to figure things out. I do work at a hospital, a rehabilitation hospital in Worcester, which I love. I love the clinical setting. I have to do continuing education to keep my license, and I love doing that as well. And this is a great, different thing for me to do, is to teach in a different way, especially through online, which I think
Different.
it's a different
challenging.
platform. There's so much I can do with my degree, and I'm glad that I'm utilizing the different parts of it.
So follow-up question from Discount Therapy. What inspired you to go into to be a nutritionist?
Well, I feel like I always knew. I know that people don't really know what they want to do, but when I got into school, I declared my major really quickly. It was just always something I was interested in. I did go through some things with food in the past. My relationship with food was not very good, but I conquered that and I turned it completely around, and so I want to help people.
On that note, from my experience working with people and working with other professionals in these fields, I tend to find that the people who are the best at empathizing, relating, and helping others get over their struggles are the ones who have gone through that same struggle themselves. Like, they've seen those dark days, but they've also seen that light that, quite frankly, when you're in it, can be really hard to see.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But thank you for that question. It was really awesome. Love this. We love interacting with you guys.
Interacting is great.
So, Danielle.
So my name is Danielle. I played sports from a young age, so I kind of was brought into the driven, motivated mentality at a young age, and that carried on into sports in college. I played soccer in college. I got into lifting, and I also got into meal prep and kind of figuring out like what's healthy food, what's not healthy food, just nutrition in general. So I've been meal prepping for about 5 years now, and through that 5 years I created an Instagram. Had no intention of growing it, and it is growing, and I just love, like she said, using my knowledge on these platforms just to educate people on what I know. Of course I don't know everything, but it's great to express what you do know, and I love working out. I'm just an enthusiast, I guess you could say. But what I do for work, I'm a geriatric fitness and wellness specialist, so it's very similar to physical therapy work with older adults, 65 and up. So just basic function of life, ADLs, activities of daily living and stuff like that. So that's what I do, yeah.
So some follow-up with that. We're actually getting quite a bit of interaction on our Twitch channel today. This is really awesome.
Great.
We've got a really awesome quote by RFK from Discount Therapy. So, only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly.
Wow, that gave me chills.
That's, right? You just feel that creep down your spine. Like, it's so true, though.
It's true.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah,
if you're not ready to fail, if you're not ready to just find yourself face down in the mud, you're not going to be able to ever achieve anything that's the top of the mountain.
Absolutely.
I mean, I can tell you as an entrepreneur, I mean, I'm going to obviously get to myself in just a second, but as an entrepreneur, as somebody who tries to make their own business, you've got to be ready to fail constantly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
As an aspiring athlete, you've got to be ready to fail constantly. If you're not prepared to fail, you're not prepared to succeed.
Yes.
And it's going to really stop you from taking chances. And chances can be scary because, well, you can fail. And it's, quite frankly, you're going to fail more than you succeed. But those successes are going to be that bread and butter that takes you as a human being to your next level.
Exactly.
Moving on a little bit more. So next question, what does health mean to you?
To me?
Yeah. What does health mean to you?
Wow.
That's a great question. I would say our bodies are incredible machines, and I think to the best of your ability, optimizing that would be health to me.
Okay.
As in, like,
That's a good
physical,
explanation.
mental, spiritual, everything. Just
Wow.
optimizing those abilities to the best of your ability would be health.
I like that.
I
That's a
think,
really
yeah,
good
that's what I would
explanation.
say.
Moving on from there, this so we've got another question from Tiger Uppercut. Great name, by the way. I work a very physical job, and I feel sluggish in the morning. What fruit should I eat before work?
Okay, that's a good question. So I think that research has actually proven, don't quote me, but they did research on that coffee is just as effective as, and eating an apple is just as effective as drinking a coffee in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you suppose it's the sugars and the fiber that really do it? Like the fiber gets the digestive system kind of fired up, and, well, of course, as we know, sugar does tend to have a very immediate energy response.
Yeah, I mean, I think I take B vitamins in the morning. Those are for energy and everything. So as for fruit, I don't know. I feel like also like an orange might, something high in vitamin C. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I used to always go between like apples, bananas, oranges, citric fruits in the morning. Always really did it for me. I also found that oatmeal was a really good source of morning nutrition for me and energy.
It keeps you full too.
Yes.
What's the dog's name?
This is Coda.
She's such a sweetheart too.
She's a lab collie mix.
She's a baby
Rescue. She's the best girl.
She is.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. We have a kitchen full of dogs today.
I know. But everyone loves dogs.
Yeah.
Everyone loves dogs.
I guess I'll move on to me next.
Yeah.
Who am I? I'm Dan. My online persona that I use quite frequently is the Fit Ferret. That's my business name, what I train under. I'm a personal trainer. I've been in the game for about 8 years. I've been an exercise enthusiast for about 15, 16 years. And I used to live incredibly unhealthy. I grew up with a very limited knowledge of nutrition and fitness. Quite frankly, if you've ever read a box of macaroni and cheese and on the back where it says feeds a family of 4, well, I discovered early on that apparently I am a family of 4. That went for all different types of processed foods. I would eat rice-a-roni by the box, Kraft mac and cheese by the box, and that was like maybe 2 meals a day some weeks.
Wow, you know that Knorr or something? Knorr packages of, it's like a similar to mac and cheese. It's just this pasta with cheese in it, and it's like $1. And everybody, I feel like a lot of people
that's
use
the thing.
that.
It's
so easy.
Pasta is very readily available, especially bleached pastas and things with that. Whose mom is that? Oh, that's Danielle and Victoria's mother. She actually used to be a client of mine. That's how I originally met Danielle and Victoria before we even started any of this. So, Ginny, do you want to come say hi?
Will you talk
Somebody
about me?
Yeah, they want you to say hi.
Who's they?
Whoa, careful!
Where's the camera?
That's Mama Hoover.
Oh, hi guys.
So that one.
I love having you every Sunday. Where am
Hi to
I
the-
looking?
That one.
This camera right here.
Hello. Hope you're having fun. Get out and walk today.
Yes, I am.
No, absolutely. Actually,
Nice.
I think all of us separately plan on going for some hikes today
Yes.
with the doggos.
So nice out.
I can't go anywhere.
So this channel, Better University, this is my channel, I guess you could call it. It was my Twitch channel way before I did any of this, but that was just for like, you know, video game streaming very lightly in my off time. But this is our channel. We are Better University. You know, we've created this from the ground up. We do subscription services for, if you missed it earlier, you can catch the replay, but each Sunday we do a meal prep for the week, and we release the recipes for that meal prep the Monday before the show. $5 a month, you'll get every meal prep every single time they come out. Other than that, we've got a couple of educational programs that we run through our website as well. Right now, our biggest seller that's been helping people change their lives is the Clean and Lean Challenge. It's a 6-week adventure through learning how to eat more whole foods and getting more of the processed foods out of your diet. We've got a lot of other courses that we're going to be releasing over time as we kind of polish them up and finish them up. But I'm sure they can tell you I'm a perfectionist, so until I am 100% happy with something, it just does not get released.
Absolutely.
It will just sit in limbo because, quite frankly, I don't want to attach my name to something that I'm not proud of.
Yep. Same.
All of us.
Yeah, we're all kind of
This
perfectionists.
this is not Canadian. However, we are relatively close to the Canadian border. We're based out of Massachusetts, New England, if you will. Ooh, what separates you from the riffraff of the health and fitness industry?
Damn, that's a good one.
This is my favorite one because I've tried to answer this one many times over my career.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, what separates us is education. We're not about giving people a diet that works because, quite frankly, there's lots of great programs out there that if you just follow, they'll work for you.
Yeah.
But our concept here, Better University, we want to educate. We want people to figure out what it is that works well for them, not necessarily just following the cookie cutter of what everybody else is doing. Because quite frankly, you've got like the keto diet, which is really popular right now, and a lot of people are seeing great success on it. But the flip side to that is, there aren't a lot of people that get success on it as well.
Yeah.
I can tell you, my body type does really well with ketogenic type dieting. Every once in a while, I'll kind of use it to cycle out to burn a little bit of extra fat, kind of reset my insulin sensitivity and build up some more muscle. I'll definitely break into that on a different show topic somewhere down because there's just so much to talk about there.
Yeah, seriously.
But my fiance, on the other hand, she goes on a ketogenic type diet and it makes her miserable. She has no energy. She doesn't feel well. So everybody's body processes foods differently. You can't take that one-size-fits-all approach, but one size does work for a lot of people. And then that means a different one size will also work well for a lot of people too. So I know I rambled a little bit, but to sum up,
Yep.
education and finding your balance is what we're about, is what separates us from everybody else in the health and fitness industry. Well, not everybody else, because I will say there are a couple other guys out there that I follow closely because I really love and respect the work they do. And maybe one day they'll recognize us as legitimate and they'll have us on their show to chit chat. That would be awesome.
That would be great.
But until then, we're just going to keep doing us.
And I would say no BS.
Yeah.
We just tell it how it is, even if it's not what you want to hear. It's
Right.
just we
I-
want
That's
to
huge.
share the
Absolutely.
truth
That's
because
I've turned clients away who are like,
Exactly.
I want this in this time frame.
it's
and
not,
I'm like,
yeah.
Just can't.
I can't do that
You
for
can't
you.
stand behind something like that.
Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
If it's built to fail, it will fail.
Yep.
All right, let's keep going on. Hey, we've got a viewer from the Ukraine checking in with us.
Ooh,
Eva, thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
that's cool.
Long-time listener, first-time commenter. What's
Yeah.
the best food for exercise? Ooh. So, this is a great question.
Yeah.
As far as that's concerned, you're going to find better energy reserves from foods that digest a little bit slower. One prime example we actually already just mentioned in the show, oatmeal. Oatmeal is something that digests very slowly and it's going to release a very slow stream of energy into your system.
Fiber.
Now that being said, sugars are also really good for getting that immediate burst of energy. Sports beverages such as Gatorade, such as Powerade, those various things, they have electrolytes in them that you sweat out when you're working out, when you're exercising. Yes, not opium, oatmeal. I would never recommend opium as an exercise stimulant.
I don't know about that.
Oatmeal.
I think opium would do the exact opposite. I don't think you'd have the energy for working out. I mean, not that I want to start talking about uppers and downers and stimulants, but yes, oatmeal is a really good source of that. But onto the sports beverages. It's the electrolytes that you're replacing as you're sweating them out. It's the sugar that's in them that gives you that kind of burst of energy, because sugar is a much more readily source. Your body's going to turn foods you eat into sugar to make energy, regardless. Like, that's the process. So if you give it something that's chemically closer to sugar, it's going to process it a lot quicker, it's going to be ready to use, and you're not going to have to go through the whole process of digesting, absorbing, and manufacturing. That being said, sports beverages are not health beverages. It is not healthy to drink Gatorade all day, every day, especially if you're not involved.
Most of the time it's not.
Especially if you're not involved in some kind of physical exercise.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's good. Any more questions from you guys out in the audience? You guys have been great today. This is awesome.
We love questions.
This has been an awesome rap session.
Questions
I've
are
really
fun.
been enjoying this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. We got some more going on. Ooh. What kind of watch does Danielle have? The same one!
So it is a Fitbit Versa. I'm a Fitbit fanatic. So I started with the little one that you have on the hip, and then I started with like kind of the watch one. And then I ventured off into Apple Watch, which I hated because it isn't designed for steps specifically, which I wanted an activity tracker. Yeah, I wanted an activity tracker, so that's not what an Apple Watch is. So for about a fourth of the price, I switched back to the Fitbit Versa, and I love it. It has a great battery life. It has over 500 different faces that you can use, and yeah, it's great stuff. You get your notifications through it.
Yeah, a lot of different notifications.
Yeah, I know,
not
it's
just
great.
text or anything.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
it's good stuff. I love it. I love it. Love Fitbit.
I love my Fitbit Versa. All right.
Same.
Same.
And
Same.
from Pure Tony, who's that guy?
Which one?
This-
I know, every time you're on, you have a different face.
Yeah, so something you guys who have been following us for a while now will probably notice, my facial hair tends to change rather drastically. It's the one thing about me that I can be very impulsive about and just kind of shift things up. My fiance hates it when I move all the furniture around in the house, so I've gotten into just altering my facial hair.
Wait, you got the furniture?
Oh, that used to be my thing.
Oh my god!
Yeah, once a month I'd need to
around.
just do something super impulsive
Ooh,
to
I like
get some
that.
energy out, and I would just rearrange the whole flow of my house.
Riot.
Now granted, it always took way too long, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things. You wanted to drop that energy out, like it's just
Right.
all through the
Yeah.
place.
Change.
Yes.
Yes. Love change.
Oh man, back in college, my roommate used to hate me. He'd come home from a day of classes and he would just like trip over something like, where'd this coffee table come from? What's going on? But yeah, so real quick, again, pardon me, for Eva, my name is Dan. I'm the Fit Ferret. This is Danielle. This is Victoria. We really appreciate you guys chit-chatting with us today. Unfortunately, we are getting close on the hour, so we do have to wrap the show up. Because if we don't wrap the show up, our Instagram feed is going to automatically cut out on us. But for anybody who missed the beginning, if you missed the cooking part, if you missed when we were first starting to talk about fats today, you can watch a rerun on our Twitch channel, you can watch a rerun on our YouTube channel, and as always, we'll be back here again next Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unfortunately, I don't know what that translates for our friends from the Ukraine who are watching, or depending on what part you might be from Canada. But other than that, it is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Within a minute or two, give or take, we tend to fire the show up then and there. If you want to follow us on Facebook, it's Facebook/groups/AFG. You know what? Hold on. I'm going to switch back to the other camera real quick because I've got it plugged in right up there. Oh, where'd we go? There we go. So once that overlay kicks in, there we go. Groups/AFGS Better University. Twitch channel, obviously, twitch.tv/Better University. And hey guys, thank you so much for watching today. Really helped me get out of my funk. This show just really energized me. I don't even remember why I was upset this morning. Alright, that's a joke. I still remember. But you know what? This has given me that boost to really get out there. I'm going to hit the hiking trails super hard today. Me and the doggo, we're gonna go crush it.
Great day.
Nice.
So, thanks everybody. I hope you all get out. If you're in a nice area that's got some great weather today, get outside, enjoy it, and just be the most awesome version of yourself that you can today. And we'll see you next week. Thanks again. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.